I guess the first question I wanted to ask you is I saw on your Instagram, I think it was before the show was even announced, that you were looking at some Tom Bianchi
Yeah,
photographs. I love Tom Bianchi.
I bought
Um,
that photo. It's in my house now.
yeah, it's sort of like um, I didn't even realize how perfectly you guys, like you and Joseph with the costumes and the cinematography, really feels like those pictures when I re-looked at them, took a look at them again this past week. I was like, wow, you guys really captured that. And I
Oh,
guess
thank you.
you're welcome. And I guess I just wanted to know, from you just looking at his artwork, what really was like an inspiration for you in terms of designing the show.
The Tom Yankee was specific to episode 7, was
Mm,
specific to Fire
okay.
Island. And that photograph, I mean, the whole series was great in terms of of showing me the energy, the look, the costumes, obviously, um, just the feeling at that time. But that particular photo, why I like that one so much is that there's yes the debauchery, there's yes the partying of that time, but that photo I just thought was so sweet. It just felt
Hmm.
so sweet because there's also all this like bravado and stuff, but there's the sweetness of Hawk and Tim's love. So
Yeah.
that's why I loved that photo so much.
Okay. Yeah, there's something
Also the
about
lighting, like
yeah, oh my God,
the lighting, like everybody looked better at that time, like every single photo I'm like everybody's gorgeous.
yeah, it was sort of like I was going through pictures and I have like a small book of his stuff somewhere. I couldn't find it. But it was sort of like I was almost afraid for the men in the photographs to sort of all these like sun-kissed beautiful men to almost turn and look at me and be like, "Hi, I'm in the Midwest. Please go away." It's like um yeah. Um I guess since we were talking a little bit about episode 7, um I I love thinking of Tom entering that house, really not knowing what he's in for. And I guess I just wanted to know, Fire Island, what is like a quintessential look from that time period that really drew you in?
It wasn't so much the look, it was the freedom that the people there had to be themselves.
Hmm. Okay.
At a time where they just didn't have that, but it was so like it was important to have large space, open space,
Yeah.
windows, because there was no embarrassment. There was nothing to be embarrassed about or to hide. So it
Hmm.
needed to be all like open and free and being able to move through the house and see different areas of the house,
Yeah.
because it had to be hiding nothing.
Yeah, I love that you could even like the staircase, you can see through the staircase. I kept thinking when I rewatched that episode, I was like, I can see through a lot of surfaces or things that you like if this was a house in Connecticut, everything might be like wood
Right.
or something else. Like I love like there's a big coffee table, you can see through it. If there is color,
Yeah.
it's like bright. Maybe
Yeah.
something is saturated. I love that.
Yeah. Even the
Um,
front door, when you look out the front door, you're looking towards the beach. It was a blue screen, then with beach in the distance. It was
mhm,
like, yeah. And the
okay.
pool was, I mean, the pool was awesome.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. I love that. Um, I wanted to ask, I guess, first about Hawkins' apartment to like go back in time here. But I
Okay.
feel like I just took like some most random notes. I love the sleekness of it. It's sort of like um the ultimate bachelor pad. I love the dark colors, the charcoals, the grays. Um the I don't know, there's something about anything that was leather may have insinuated a little bit of sex to me. I don't know. I felt like, especially on a rewatch, I thought I was really intoxicated by that place. And I feel like if I was Tim and I got brought back to what I assume I was going back there for, I would think, like, okay, I'm definitely not the first person to come back here. And I guess I just wanted to know from you, I guess there's a beautiful style to his apartment. It's so elegant, and cannot speak to that enough. When I rewatched it, I really wanted to visit that space.
So that space, we started by we needed to find the exterior. And so
Okay.
I was pitching Art Deco, and we
Yeah.
came upon a couple of different buildings
Okay.
that Dan and Ron liked. And when we came to specifically that building, I was like, I'm this building, we needed to be this building.
Hmm.
And and I said to Ron, the reason I like this one is because when I look at it, I have no idea what's inside. I have no idea.
Mm.
I can't even imagine what the layouts are within that building, which where the other one was more Victorian. Um, and I could imagine because the windows went it had shape, whereas this one was just flat fronted. And so when I said that to him, he was like, you know what, I'm going to bring this to Dan, like with this description. We don't know what's inside, and that is Hawk.
Yeah.
So it started off with the exterior design, which was Art Deco, and then when we moved in, a couple of different things. I would have loved for the apartment to be bigger.
Yeah.
We were running out of space in the studio. We built so much. So there was like, it had to go in certain places. It had to have a certain feel. It couldn't feel rich. But it needed to be tasteful.
Yeah.
And you can, Hawk is tasteful. He's also a military man. So basically, his apartment needed to look like what his closet looked like how arranged, how perfectly arranged
Oh,
it
okay.
was.
Hmm.
That's what he's like. It also
Wow.
needed to have his personality in it. He loves music,
Hmm.
the black and white photography. He loves Italy.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of photos of Italy in the photography. He collected Italian glass
Hmm.
sculptures and vases and art pieces. So when you look around, it's there. It's just really clean. He just
Yeah.
keeps everything very clean. This man folds folds his laundry. This man does not throw his shoes on the floor. He puts them together.
Yeah.
It's that, it's that vibe.
Okay.
Also, when we look back at the 50s, people just had way less stuff on their walls.
Yeah.
So it also made decorating that space easier for him specifically, that,
Hmm.
very streamlined, clean vibe that he has, because it was also of the time. Whereas now, I like Tim's San Francisco apartment, very different approach. If you had seen, you know, if you see Hawk's house, like when you look at Hawk's house in the 80s, completely different approach, right? To how he
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask about
back
if
then.
I was gonna ask maybe if there was anything. I was gonna ask you if you personally think what maybe Hawk would want to keep from his apartment and put into the house that he would share with Lucy, because I imagine she's the one who's decorating it.
Yeah.
Um, it's sort of like a from night and day, almost thinking of like who decorates that space. And I kept actually looking to see if I could like recognize anything from his apartment. I did actually want to ask, are the curtains from his apartment in their house?
No,
Damn it. Okay, I thought I was being very clever. I'm totally wrong.
no, different.
Okay.
I know
I
that for sure because they wouldn't have fit. The house had massive ceilings,
Yeah. Okay.
massive. Oh, yeah.
Uh, yeah, there's a brightness to that house that if even if we were like in one room in the house that Lucy and Hawk and their family share together, I kept the bigness of it. I was just like, I want to like see how big this house is. I kept wanting to go from room to room to room and like look at all the books on the shelves, look at all the
Right.
tchotchkes or knickknacks are on the tables and stuff. I love that.
That
Um,
house is actually one of our most difficult locations. And let me tell you why.
yeah,
The
please
house
do.
was never supposed to be the house for everybody. It was never supposed to be Hawks and Senator Smith's.
Hmm.
We found a separate house for Hawk and Lucy. But then when Ron saw that gorgeous house,
Yeah.
he's like, you know what? What if he takes over Senator Smith's house? And I'm like,
Oh.
they're going to kill me because the series is not shot sequentially. We're
Mm-hmm.
jumping back and forth. I've got wallpaper on the walls, carpets on the floor, and then I don't have those things. So that was, we were going back and forth. We were pulling down wallpaper and taking out carpet and vice versa. Like, yeah, we went back and forth in periods frequently
Oh
in
my
that house.
God.
That was one of the most difficult things of this project, was
Holy crap.
going back and forth through different decades in that house.
I'd
Because
actually
also
want,
even like,
yeah. Uh,
go
Like
ahead.
I had wondered, I was like, did they film that? Because there is so much time jumping. I was like, I wondered if they filmed anything sequentially, and I guess the answer is no.
No, no,
I just Ron just wanted to
yeah. The
get you.
homeowners were amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Because also their whole backyard, like a bunch of their backyard was a pool
Mm,
that got covered.
yeah.
And I was just like, if we could, and the homeowner was like, what can I do to make your life easier? And I was like, I want to hug you. And I was like, if you could please let me leave the curtains, wallpapers, and light fixtures
Mm,
while, because we didn't just go there, park there, and shoot all the way through. Like we'd go away for a couple of weeks and then come
yeah.
back.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Oh, the things that people do not know about
yeah.
shooting a series like this. Um, I guess I sort of talking about Hawk's apartment to him and Lucy's house. I wanted to ask, we touched on a second about Tim's San Francisco space, but
Mhm.
I kept, when I was rewatching it again, I kept sort of doing the same thing that I did with Hawk, looking at what I could find between one space to the other, even though the time is, you know, vastly different. And I kept thinking about how perfect Tim's apartment is. It's small. I couldn't remember seeing a window in that space. The wallpaper, the whatever's on the wall feels very purposeful to him.
Mhm.
Or and then going to when Hawk sees him in San Francisco, there's a ton of light coming in, plants. I love that this poor man is dying, but he's sitting across from life and potted plants. I love that. I love the Bette Midler poster. I love the windows there. Um, I don't want to say like the difference between the space, but I guess like what do you think is important to Tim in terms of living in his own quarters?
I mean, Tim's a super romantic. He's a super emotional
Mm-hmm.
guy. So he brought his treasures to the Washington apartment, right? To the one that he's renting from a landlady. So it was all her furniture. But he's got his things from home. He's got his books.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his letters from his family. He's got, this little school mascot. He's got his Mary on the
Yeah.
wall of his bed with his little cross. He doesn't have a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Washington, so it's grayer out there. The
Yeah.
light coming in is just, it's grayer. And then when we move to San Francisco, it's brighter. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's more fun outside those windows. There's more color. He's lived a big life. He's got an established, friend community. So he's got all of these memories that he keeps, right? Like, if we're not those people, we know those people who collect,
Yeah.
who keep every ticket stub,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who collect, a card from a motel,
Yeah.
right? Um, that's how I decorate my entire house, actually. I can tell you where I
Yeah.
got every single thing because
Yeah.
everything holds a memory from that time. And that's what Tim is like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, he's just, it's his life all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. I imagine he's the type of person that I don't know, I feel like he becomes very comfortable whenever he walks through his front door, and I feel like surrounding himself with things that he loves is very important to him. So I'm glad you said that. I want to say I was just in Washington, D.C. My husband was doing something he's a huge healthcare advocate, and I did the I we did a tour of the Capitol, and I'd never been inside before. And I remember we were walking through, and I was just like, they need to put more stuff on the walls. Everything
There's
is
nothing.
so plain. There's nothing. And then when I was again rewatching episodes, I was like, wow, the State Department is there. That has to be. I imagine as a production designer, you probably like put something somewhere or something. I don't know. I thought that was
It's
very
also the
striking.
time though, right? It's
Yeah.
also the decade. It's not, you're not covering the walls with stuff. They weren't doing that. So that helped. But
Hmm.
I mean, I think the starkest one was the length of Senate hallway, that giant hallway,
Yeah.
which actually was the same width as the State Department. They just had different
Really.
ceiling heights. Yeah, it was
Ah,
only the ceiling height that differed. Isn't that amazing?
that's cool.
Um, how ceiling height can affect a space.
Yeah.
But yeah, that long hallway, and it had nothing on the walls.
Yeah.
No paintings, no nothing. And the most colorful thing in the Senate was McCarthy's map on his wall.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Hmm. I know we're running a little short on time, but I guess I just want to tell you how much I love the space of the cozy corner.
Oh, thank you.
I was reading something about how like I was scouring through pictures in that space. I love the way that it's shot and the way that the light is sort of separated from other pieces of light. It creates a lot of beautiful shadow, and there's like that huge wide archway there. I love when we get to see Frankie's dressing room, the amount of
Right.
texture and color and shimmer that is there. That is the one thing I keep saying. I want to go through everything, but I was just like, I want to touch every single freaking thing in that space. Um, so that's all I really just want to say about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Um, so I think that's actually all the time I have with you, Anastasia. I could talk to you about the show for days, but I will not hold you hostage. Thank you for letting me ramble at you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
I'm
for liking
really,
the show so much.
yeah, I'm really rooting for the show. I'm hoping you guys need to pop up everywhere. I'm going to be very loud and really obnoxious this
Oh,
whole
thank
entire
you.
season. Yeah, so thank you so much. Good luck to you this season and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.